For 11 years, we've been working to bring dignity, healing, and support to crime survivors who were denied access and support after experiencing harm in their communities. And we spent time building chapters all over the state that have become sanctuaries for people who are looking for a place to rebuild their lives and their communities. And today, we have more than 50,000 members statewide. Give it up for that. That's 50,000 people who are turning pain into power. 50,000 people who are open to sharing their stories to help people find an understanding on what we need to do to make communities safer. For decades, our expertise and our experiences were ignored. And somehow, the victims' rights movement and their protections did not extend to survivors of crime in the communities that were most impacted by crime and violence. And worse, billions of dollars were routed to the criminal justice system in the name of crime victims, but less than 1% of those dollars went to supporting survivors with their immediate needs. Can you imagine what we could have done with billions of dollars in our communities? Could you imagine the kind of harm that could have been prevented if we had billions of dollars for prevention and intervention and trauma recovery and mental health and substance abuse treatment? If we had billions of dollars to keep our young people employed and engaged doing positive activities? If we had billions of dollars to make sure that people were housed and fed and their basic needs were being met? Could you imagine what billions of dollars could have done for our communities? Some of us wouldn't be here right now had those billions of dollars went to the right place. And that's why we come to the Capitol every single year. Because without our voices, the state will continue to pass tough on crime laws and policies that will destabilize our communities and make the trauma that we've experienced perpetual, meaning that every generation after us will experience what we experience. But we came to the Capitol to say no more. Survivors, let me hear you say no more.
No more.
No more.
No more.
Not in our names.
Not in our names.
We are here for healing.
Yes.
We are here for restoration. We are here for accountability that prevents what happened to us from happening to anyone else ever again. That's why we come to the Capitol.
Yes.
During the past decade, CSSJ has made changes. Thanks to the courage and the selflessness of the survivors who are here and many across the state. And let's be clear, many of our survivors were never granted the compassion or the identity of a crime victim. Many of us didn't even consider ourselves to be victims or survivors until we joined CSSJ. To understand that what happened to us was a crime. It was not our faults. It could have been prevented, and it should not happen again. But thanks to our selflessness, thanks to our love, thanks to our commitment to making sure that our communities are safer, we have come to the Capitol every year to share our stories and to pass policies that have improved safety for everyone. All crime survivors, not just the ones who agree with us. Everyone has benefited. We've passed dozens of laws that have increased support to access to healing for victims and survivors. We've moved hundreds of millions of dollars to prevention and trauma recovery programs. Give it up for the TRCs. We've helped decision makers understand the underlying root causes of the criminal problems that we have in our state, and to understand that the criminal justice system, just relying on jails and police and prisons, is a short-sighted way to deal with public safety. We've helped everyday people understand that crime survivors are not a monolith. In fact, the majority of us don't want a response to our pain and trauma to only be punishment. We understand that it takes more. It takes more to heal. It takes more to hold accountability. We understand that you have to be able to convey compassion for people to have compassion for you. And that's why we come to the Capitol. We know it takes a more comprehensive approach that utilizes the community as well as the justice system and our other public safety partners, that we need to prioritize prevention, that we need to deal with harm before it happens in the first place so that we can prevent it from happening. The residents of California deserve more than just responses and knee-jerk reactions to problems. We come here to bring the grounding voice, the grown-up voice in the room, if you will. Because if you are someone who has lost a child to a violent crime, if you are someone who's been sexually assaulted or experienced domestic violence, if you've lost someone in your immediate family, if you are the collateral damage of a system that has failed, you have to develop a certain level of maturity to have a conversation about what it takes to make a change. It has to go beyond just how you feel and what happened to you. So thanks to our Survivor Network, over the past 11 years, we've been busy. We created the California Victims Agenda. And today we're going to be walking the halls in the state capitol and reminding folks what was in that Victims Agenda. It was a 10-point plan for how we can improve safety by centering the needs of victims and survivors in the state. And there are a lot of highlights in it that I won't go through right now, but what I will say is since we've started, we've passed dozens of laws. We've moved hundreds of millions of dollars to gun violence prevention, trauma recovery centers. 2 years ago, $50 million for direct cash assistance to victims and survivors. But the state is not done. There's still more that needs to happen. We need to make sure that those funds and those resources actually get to the hands of survivors who need them right now. We need to make sure that our loved ones are not on social media begging for coin to lay their loved ones to rest with a GoFundMe. We need to make sure that when someone says they're in danger, they don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops to be relocated with their loved ones. Because that is what safety looks like. And we want to make sure that safety is equitable. It doesn't just happen for some depending on where they live or what they look like, or what kind of crime they experience. Because believe me, when you come from a community that's been impacted by crime, the belief is that somehow you contributed to what happened to you. We have to come here every year to remind the state and partner with leaders who understand that this quick thinking, this we just want it to be over, we just want to do something so that people can stop saying that nothing is being done, that is actually harmful to our communities. That you actually have to do the hard work of investing in change over decades, the same way you've invested decades into a system that failed. It is not going to happen overnight. Today they want to go back to the days of mass incarceration. They are threatening to move hundreds of thousands of people back to jail and prison. Most of them will look like us. For low-level crimes that we know other interventions are way better responses for, that can actually prevent it from happening again if people get access to the help they need, and they shouldn't have to go to jail or prison to get access to mental health. You shouldn't have to be triaged in a county jail facility to get a time with a clinician or to get access to medication. You should not have to go through a county jail facility to get access to housing, because that's the only place you can lay your head. They want to roll back reforms like Prop 47, which actually routed hundreds of millions of dollars to prevention programs, and some of the beneficiaries of those programs are right here today. They're running remarkable programs that have gotten people employed, got them stably housed, got victims and survivors access to support through trauma recovery centers. Why would we go backwards? What could be the real reason why we go backwards right now? So today, CSSJ California, the largest network of crime victims and survivors, is calling on the state of California to continue to move forward. Yes. And double down on strategies that actually make our communities safer. We want you to invest in them to scale. We want to increase legal protections for victims to prevent job and housing loss. I want to thank Assemblymember Pilar Chavo, who will be up here shortly, because she's consistently been a voice of reason in the Assembly about how we deal with safety. And we thank you for your partnership on this bill, Assembly Member. We have to cover the actual cost of recovery for all victims, including protecting the Victim of Crime Act investments, direct cash assistance for survivors of crime so they can get the assistance when they need it, And we have to protect the tens of millions of dollars that are available to expand the number of trauma recovery centers. Understand that when we first started coming to the Capitol in 2012, there was one trauma recovery center in the state of California. There are 22 TRCs today. And some of those trauma recovery centers are led by survivors who know how to respond to the needs of victims and survivors in the community. Ain't that right, Liz and Carlos? We're here today because we want to dispel the myth that we don't have the expertise. People are always looking outside of our communities for the solution. The community is the solution. Let me hear you say the community is the solution. Survivors have the answers. And regardless of what you think is going to work, we know best what will work. And so we're going to continue partnering with you, State of California, and holding you accountable for better outcomes for our communities. We are willing to partner with you, and that's why we come here. But we also come here to celebrate the fact that we survived. Say, I survived.
I survived.
Tell them, say, I survived, Uncle Damien. So listen, we have a little bit of a program today, and then we're going to honor a tradition that we've held every year for the past 11 years. And we are going to hold a moment for ourselves and for our loved ones to continue our healing journey. We're going to return the energy to this space that should be what guides the decisions that happen here. Because our mission is to write love into law. Our mission is to write compassion into policy. And our mission is to make sure that it stays there so that the next generation of young people who are here with us today don't have to fight. They can thrive.
That's right.
So with that, I would like to invite up Assemblymember Pilar Chavo, who is one of the champions of our bill. Assemblymember Chavo.
Good morning. Let me give you a hug. Woo! Okay. Good morning. I am so happy to be here with Crime Survivors for Justice and Safety today as a crime survivor myself, and as someone who believes that exactly what Tanish said, that we need to write love into law, that we need to lead with love and lead from a place that supports communities and make sure that people can live healthy lives where they thrive. Our bill, I come out of the labor movement and have fought for workers and workplace justice for a long time, and was really happy to partner on this bill, AB 2499. It's going to basically mean that no one is penalized at work because they have experienced trauma or they are supporting a family member who has experienced trauma. We had Stephanie, who has testified on our bill. It's passed both of the committees so far, so we're feeling good. And Stephanie is a mother whose son was killed by gun violence. He left behind 7 children, and she had to drop everything and help these kids. And she had worked as a professional for decades. She had worked helping people with addiction counseling. She was doing good, important work in our community, but ended up having to quit her job because she couldn't sustain it and they weren't giving her the time that she needed to be able to support her family and the children who were struggling. And so it's stories like this of people who are really suffering and really struggling, who are trying to balance the needs of their family and loved ones in crisis, and also be able to continue to provide for themselves. And you shouldn't have to make that choice. You shouldn't have to choose between keeping your job and supporting your family in crisis. Right. And so that is what this bill does. That is what AB 2499 is going to do as soon as we get it all the way through the Assembly and all the way through the Senate and all the way to the governor's desk and signed by the governor. So I am so thrilled to be working with you all to continue to push forward important policies like this that support survivors, support people in our community, support folks, and give them the backing that they need to be successful, to be healthy, and to thrive in our community. So thank you so much for your work. We will continue to fight with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all give it up again for Assemblymember Pilar Charvel. Just the kind of leadership that we deserve in that building. I also want to thank Mama. That's who she was talking about, Mama Stephanie. Thank you for testifying on that bill, for sharing your story and helping everyone understand. I just want to ask by a show of hands, how many of you were a victim of a crime and had to immediately go back to work? So the reason why I'm asking that question is because when it's time for us to come to the Capitol, it's your story that moves leaders like Assemblymember Charvel. It's our stories that help people understand. Should be common sense, right? It should be common sense, but you would be surprised how many things are not written into law that are common sense. People can't heal if they're forced to choose between taking care of their lives and being stable and dealing with the worst thing that ever happened to them. We can do better. Say, we can do better. We can do better. So let's talk about how we did better. I want to invite up two of my favorite people to talk a little bit about the benefit of being a survivor in this movement and what it has meant to be able to bring healing to their communities. And that is our San Diego chapter coordinators, Liz and Carlos, because you can't do Liz without Carlos. And that's why I love them. If you want to see a model for what love looks like, it's these two. Liz and Carlos Munoz. Come on, y'all.
Hi, good morning, survivors. Buenos días, sobrevivientes. My name is Elizabeth Munoz.
My name is Carlos Munoz.
And we are parents of a murdered child. My son, Juan Carlos Munoz Jr., known by family as Junior Munoz, was a victim of gun violence on October 11th of 2015. My vibrant boy, full of life and character, was gone. As you can imagine, and many of you have gone through this similar tragedy, it's an unbearable trauma, one that you can't come back from. Though with proper services and mental health treatment, it is possible to heal in a very healthy way. My husband and I did not receive the services that we needed at the time that we really, really needed them. At the time that it was our darkest times. And my husband and I both attempted suicide at separate times without each one of us knowing that. If only we would have had a trauma recovery center in San Diego or even close by that we can travel to. During these times, maybe it would have been different. Junior's dream was to be a psychologist. Knowing that my family and I needed mental health services, it was a no-brainer to open up the doors of a trauma recovery center. Junior's Trauma Care Initiative was open in memory of my only child, Junior. But what we did is Junior's TCI helped save lives of many victims and survivors in San Diego. Yeah. We couldn't save our baby boy, but we're saving yours. Yeah. That's right. We not only provide therapeutic services, but we also provide case management, our DK mentoring program, our victim support response teams, and survivor camps, all free of charge for everyone, no matter your ethnicity or where you come from. Our wraparound approaches targets breaking and interrupting cycles of crime. Yes. Prevention and intervention is the key. Yes. with alarming increases of crime rates throughout California. Every city needs at least one TRC, at the very least, in order to help survivors thrive out of their trauma and into an effective healing. Defunding TRCs in California is not acceptable. That would only increase the number of crimes and generational trauma.
Yes.
That's right.
That is not the solution. The data, it speaks for itself. I'm a survivor. Carlos is a survivor. You are a survivor. And when survivors speak, change happens. Thank you. God bless.
I want to thank Junior. Seek Junior's name. Junior. I know he's proud of his mama and his papa.
Yes, he is. Very proud.
I know he's proud of y'all.
Very proud. Yes.
When I go back to what I said about having a certain level of maturity, the kind of maturity, but it's not just maturity, it's healing.
Healing. Come on.
It's love that allows you to say, I couldn't save my baby, but I'm going to save yours.
Come on. Yes.
How could the state of California not prioritize that? How could this not be a priority? Trauma recovery centers work if we have access to them. So let's get the access to the trauma recovery. I think there shouldn't just be one in every city. There should be one in every neighborhood. Frisco need at least 5. LA need at least 30. Because y'all big. And speaking of the trauma recovery centers, I want to invite up a dear friend of mine who has been 10 toes down in this movement to bring healing and justice to communities for decades. I'm not going to date us, Gina, because we've been outside for a long time. But she now has the incredible honor and responsibility of being the director of the National Trauma Recovery Center Network. And this is my friend, Dr. Gina Castro Rodriguez.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. I feel honored to be here with you. I'm the director of the National Alliance of Trauma Recovery Centers. We have 22 recovery centers in California, but we need many more. We have 52 nationally, so other states are realizing the value and the benefit of this, and we need to keep pushing and advocating for it. So why trauma recovery centers? It's because trauma recovery centers focus on people who are most harmed by crime, but least access to service. So we're really trying to disrupt the cycle of violence. We know that our communities have had to live with crime and violence and pain for years, and we've just accepted that in some cases, and it's not acceptable. It's not okay for our kids to grow up afraid or scared, anxious, depressed, worried about their survival, fearful of their future, not being able to think forward. Those are things that people in safe communities get and take advantage of, and we don't get those things. So we need to fight for that. You know, we have a broken criminal justice system. I've worked in the juvenile justice system, the adult justice system, the survivor resources and services across California, and it is broken. And fortunately, Prop 47 takes that broken system and gives the benefits back to the survivors to heal and recover. And we need to continue to have that available for survivors. You can hear today and see today all of the people who have benefited from being connected with someone who sees them and hears them and acknowledges their pain and helps them heal with the strength that they already have internally so that they can go out and help other people also, and that we can live happy, healthy lives with overall good mental health and well-being. That's the only thing that's going to stop this cycle. So pain feeds violence, violence feeds pain. It's time for us to address that pain and help people do better, live better, feel better, be better, because that pain is what's killing our communities. When we start trauma recovery centers, and we work so closely with Survivor Speaks and safety, Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice and the Alliance for Safety and Justice to replicate this model all over, communities get better, families get better, individuals get better. And that doesn't just keep us safe, it keeps everyone safe. This is an investment in public safety for everyone. We really need to have the passion and the wisdom and the knowledge that you all have, the experiences that came out of pain, and grow into love to help feed this movement. So I'm honored to be here, and I thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Gina, what do we want?
Healing.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Healing.
When do we want it?
Now.
¿Qué queremos?
Sanamiento.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Young people, anybody here under the age of 25, where you at? Hiding? No, we don't do that. Come up here in the front. I need the young people. Young people, I need you over here close to the altar, not in the cameras. And I'm going to tell you why I'm calling the young people to the front. There you go. Listen. Young people, there's an African proverb that says, the elders are for counsel. The young people are for battle. We need your energy. We need your legs. We need your stories in the Capitol. We need you to lead. We are here to transfer all of our knowledge and give you all the tools that you need to be able to continue leading your communities. This is how we build safety. It's not because I'm a great public speaker or any of us are so amazing at what we do. It's that we've learned and that we applied what we learned, but we listen to wisdom. And you are surrounded by wisdom in your communities, but we need your leadership. We need to give these young people opportunity to lead. Because I promise, if we were to sit down and listen to their stories, they're carrying way more than we are. And they are faced with the responsibility of having to move in the right direction in environments that are telling them that moving in the right direction ain't safe for you. So we have to create that safety for them. But it starts with teaching each other how to hold space to heal. And so I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for traveling all the way to Sacramento with whoever you rode up here with. And I want to challenge you to stay involved because we need your voices. And I'm going to introduce somebody to the stage next who's one of my dear friends, colleagues, and a national leader, because organizing is how we make change. When I was younger, y'all age, I didn't know that this was something I was going to do for the rest of my life. All I wanted to do was prevent what happened in my family from happening. And I couldn't stop it. However, I learned that the love for my community had to be greater than just the love I had for my family. The love that I have for people that I didn't even know had to be greater. So that is why I do what I do today. That's why so many of us do what we do today. But we need young people to stand in front of this movement, because it is you who will suffer when these bills are passed. It is you who is being targeted when they move money away from prevention and intervention. It's your youth employment jobs. It's your after-school programs. It's your apprenticeship programs. It's your violence prevention. We are here to talk about you. Because we don't want you in the position that you might have found yourself in, or some of the positions that we've already been in. I'm going to invite one of my dear sisters and friends who is very much has been a steward of my healing, which is why I'm able to stand here and carry all my loved ones with me today. And that's our sister, Dr. Mo. She's going to walk us through this healing space that we're going to hold today as we hold a moment for ourselves and for our loved ones.
I just want to say thank you to our ancestors. We lost a mighty oak yesterday, Reverend Cecil Williams. So I just want to lift up his spirit. And I also want to invite y'all to do this with me. So let's do this. Bend your knees a little bit. You know, roll with it, bounce. Y'all bouncing? Let your arms loose. Maybe you want to shake a little bit. I see you. I see you, Tasha. Okay, so let's do this. So take your arms. This is about us breathing. This is about us healing. This is about us claiming our space at the Capitol. This is our Capitol. This is our house. So taking a moment, bounce a little bit. Let's breathe. We're going to use our arms too. We're going to go breathing in and then breathing out together. Let's do it again. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Thank you, fellow Californians. Let us take a moment to honor our ancestors on whose shoulders we stand. Let us take a moment to honor the courage of love and the survivors here at the state capitol and those celebrating with us all over the world. So as you imagine those that you've lost and those that we've lost, maybe take a hand, place it on your heart, breathing into their spirit, feeling them with you, feeling their strength, feeling their love, letting them fill you up, letting them know that they are here with you. Y'all feeling them? I want to invite you, if you have a candle, to take it out. I also want to invite you, there's some roses here next to the altar. Please receive them if you want. There's some bags of medicine here, it's sage and rosemary and some other things. Please receive that if you'd like. There's some paper. You can write the name of your loved one and some markers down at the bottom of the altar as well. And you can place it here. So as y'all have your candles, remember the rose is the love medicine. Remember the rose has a beautiful smell. It has the beautiful petals, but what else does it have? And those thorns, they protect us. They are our strength and our boundaries. So don't cut those thorns off. Be careful, but know your boundaries. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And there are some with thorns, so be careful. But the bags of medicine there in the brown, and you can take that one. That one's for you. And lavender is great for healing and for medicine, for calming. So you can put it under your pillow. For those of you who may not know, this is an ancestral African tradition that we have here, but I've blended it also with indigenous, native, and Mexican medicines as well to honor all of our traditions. And so this is not about anything negative. These are our natural medicines. These were our medicines before antidepressants. These were our medicines before giving us a pill and telling us to go shut up. These are the medicines that for us before they said stop crying. So these are our medicines: water, air, earth, fire. So lift up your candle. These are representing our healing and work to prevent others from experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, losing a child to violence, human trafficking, gun violence, losing a loved one to police violence. Together, let us acknowledge that as crime survivors for safety and justice, we are more than our worst experiences, more than our worst day. And we want to thrive after being impacted by substance abuse and thoughts of suicide and incarceration and other challenges that would break other people. Yes. We make a way where there is no way. Yes. Together, let us acknowledge that we are not only survivors, but we are thrivers. Yes. Yeah, si se puede? We're thrivers. Thrivers. We're thrivers. 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 So please let us join in a moment of silence to honor our loved ones who are no longer with us and ourselves who have also survived. So remember your hearts. Call out the names of the loved ones you've lost to violence, and let's honor them and draw inspiration from them to continue our work. Aaron. So just call out the names.
James. Mitchell.
Call out their names. Ashe. When survivors speak. When survivors speak. When survivors speak. Thank you, y'all. Y'all are beautiful, you're inspiring, and you're what makes life worth living. So thank you. Now I'd like to come up, welcome on stage, Tanish, my girl, my sister.
And Danny Montes.
Thank you, Mo. I want us to keep that energy. I know we have to keep the program going, but this healing space continues, right? And we're not dismissing our loved ones that we called in here. Our loved ones are present with us now. And I felt the energy shift when we started calling names. I felt the energy shift when we took a moment to close our eyes. I want to invite up Senator Nancy Skinner while we're holding that space, because Senator Skinner has been a champion, and we don't take that word lightly. You have to understand, it's someone who has fought to win. And in my opinion, she is a lion in the Senate because she has fought hard. Her wisdom has allowed her to make changes and to build relationships in this building to get things through that other people can't. And it's because of her leadership we were able to score the $50 million for direct cash assistance for victims and survivors. It's because of her leadership that we've been able to change many, many laws to advance protections for victims and survivors, making sure that loved ones, family members, not just direct victims, can also get support. It's her leadership that allowed us to do that. It's our partnership that has made that difference. So thank you, Senator Skinner. Let me give you a minute.
Tanish, thank you. You're a fantastic leader. And you all are fantastic. I am so honored to join you, survivors. I'm so glad that you're here in the state capitol. We need your voices. We absolutely need them. When we are hurt or harmed, it is natural for us to be angry and to lash out. That's human. When we get the proper support and care, then we can use those emotions we have in a way that heals us instead of hurting others. And that's why we have to embrace survivors. And that's why your being here is so important. You are a key ingredient to public safety. We cannot achieve public safety when people still feel hurt and harmed. So, they all work together. You know, we're trying to do the right thing, and we're trying to bring justice and appropriately have consequences for those who harm us, and yet also have the support for that when we are harmed, we don't harm others. And that's what you're here for. That's what you're about. You know, I didn't always understand that. I fought for the criminal justice reforms that I fought for, but I didn't really connect those dots. It was you all and your experiences and your stories and your coming and talking to me and this existence of this important organization that helped me understand that. And it's such a natural thing to understand. So, thank you for being here. I join with you, and together we're gonna do it. We're gonna change it, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Skinner. All right. There's a science to this work to make change, right? And we got to be coordinated. We got to work on one accord. We have to have our message. We have to be able to have conversations with people like Senator Skinner so that they can then go and have those conversations with others. But it's Danny's leadership that helps us understand how to do that. So I want to invite my friend Danny Montes up here to get us juiced up to go on the Capitol.
How's everybody doing? Good. I just want to first say congratulations to everybody for being here today. We know that the road just to get here was not easy, but you all have been the leaders across the state. we have people from every corner, every peak, and every valley from the state of California. Are you all here? Yeah. ¿Dónde está mi gente latina? Yeah. Cuando hablan los sobrevivientes, ocurre el cambio. Yes, yes. We are coming together to transform the state of California and turn our pain into power. See, I was born and raised in Southeast LA, and I, like many of you here today, are here because we know exactly what our communities need. We are the storytellers, we are the organizers, we are the mentors in our communities, and we are here in Sacramento to make sure that our voices are heard. We want public safety policies that work. We need to support the organizations like the ones here today that are in the front lines in the communities most impacted by violence. We want investments in communities to bring healing, trauma recovery, and safety. Yes. Now, during difficult moments, we know that change is not easy. But we are the ones that have been called upon to be the change makers in this state. Join me and say yes if you think that we need better access to victim services. Yes. Say yes if you want more community prevention programs. Yes. Say yes if we need more trauma recovery centers across the state. Yes. It's been a decade that we've been doing this work, and we are not stopping anytime soon. This is the moment to get involved. This is the moment to have the conversations with our families. This is the moment where we change not just the state of California, but the country. We are building a movement. What started as a community dialogue with a handful of people over a decade ago has now turned into a national movement across the country, and it's because of you all. We all need to continue to build this movement, person by person, block by block, city by city, state capital by state capital, because when survivors speak, congratulations again for joining us here today, and you can trust in me that I will be there with you fighting for change, because when survivors speak, change happens. Thank you all.
I want to end by saying this. As heavy as the experiences were that brought us into this network, it is a joy to be with our survivors. It is a joy to be in community with people who understand that healing got to be a priority if you want to be safe. It's a joy to be in community with people who are committed every day to being better. Being better than they were the day before, being better to the people that they love, being better to their communities. That example is how we transform our communities. We need more young people to become elders. Hell, we need more elders to become elders, because some of y'all don't want to grow. Some of us don't want to grow up. We need our communities to continue to evolve. And we have to show each other how to do that. And this work we do is sacred. And we need more people to join this movement. When survivors speak. When survivors speak. All right, y'all, let's bring our voices to the Capitol.